Hey, this is Ted Hicks from Late Night Parents. We got Tony D, who's here. It's been a while, Tone. How you doing?
Tired, but I'm here. I'm here. Appreciate it. We ain't done it in a while, man. We ain't
I
done it.
know, I know. I keep saying we got to go back to Thursdays around 10ish because you are a busy, super busy person.
Yeah.
Big shout out to audioport.org for helping us put this together. Um, a lot of things to discuss. I know we like to keep it within that 1 hour format. Um, Tonight might be a little bit less. Tone, you got divisional weekend. Tell me for your Belt Kings audio broadcast and your live stream, who are you going with this weekend?
49ers, Cowboys. No, excuse me. The 49ers, the Eagles. That Bengals and Bills game, I don't know.
That's going to be a shootout.
I don't know. And the other one was Kansas City and
Jaguars.
Kansas City. Kansas City. I don't think the Jaguars are going to do what they did again. No disrespect to them because
Okay.
they messed me up when they came back on the Chargers. I did not see that happen. I did not see that. I'm not even going to act like, yeah, I had that. No, I'm not going to do that. But my original prediction for the season was the Bills and the Eagles for the Super Bowl, and it's lining up. But the 49ers, when they picked up Christian McCaffrey, they built themselves up for the Super Bowl. They truly did. So right now, I think the NFC Championship is going to be the 49ers and the Eagles. Nothing against Dallas, but Dallas has to win more than one playoff game. And I've been saying that. Excuse me. I remember it from the early 90s. They somewhat there. Now they just got to show it. But the 49ers are serious. The Eagles have been serious. Kansas City is so loaded. It's scary.
Kansas City and San Francisco are both loaded.
Very loaded. Matter of fact, that's actually a dangerous Super Bowl right there. But
Yeah.
the Bengals, I think the Bengals have got to go back because they lost their Super Bowl last year, but they should have went home with their head high because they played an outstanding game. The Rams couldn't really do nothing against them. They really couldn't. I just think that the Bills and the Bengals right now, that's a very tough game. I cannot call it because both teams are loaded. Dallas, I hate to say it, actually the Jaguars might be the weakest team in the playoffs right now, and Dallas is right above them. And as much as it sounds like shade, because Dallas has two significant, their backup offense is ready to go. Seriously, Pollard, Cooper Rush, the backup tight end is not Dalton Schultz, the primary tight end, I think, and I actually forgot who's who, but they got a secondary offense that's ready to go, and they're going to do it. But I don't know if they're going to beat the 49ers. The 49ers are loaded. Do you realize that team is pretty much the team that went to the Super Bowl a few years ago, plus Christian McCaffrey?
Yes.
And the quarterback, a lot of people didn't worry about Garoppolo, and Purdy's putting up great numbers. So I got to.
At what point do you think Purdy tightens up? At what point do you think the moment gets too big for Purdy as a rookie?
I don't think it will because the team carries the quarterback. The 49ers, when they went to the Super Bowl last year, I dare say they carry Garoppolo. They feel good with Garoppolo with the helm. A lot of people got problems with Garoppolo, but the team does, and that's all you need. Because Debo Samuel's the truth. I've actually had him on my fantasy team until he got hurt. Brian Ayuk has yet to break out for real yet. Christian McCaffrey's going to be all they it's the 49. I think it's the 49ers and the Eagles for the NFC Championship, and I do not know. I don't
You
even
gotta
know.
give a big shout out to John Lynch for putting this team together, architecting this team.
Huge shout out. But,
you know, and
big ups to the NFL for having most of the league even. Most of the records were close to 500. You know, we was watching it all season.
Yeah, it was parity. It was
so
parity within the league.
To be satisfied with what they did as far as spreading the talent out amongst all the teams. I have to give them credit for that. There were a couple big teams, a couple of small teams, but a lot of teams were sitting.
Yes.
A lot of teams were sitting close to 500, which is actually an excellent sales pitch for your league or your product.
We didn't give There's a reason why they're doing I think 15 bill, close to. I think the goal is by 2027 they want to be doing 25 bill a season
That's
net.
crazy. That's crazy.
Net.
That's crazy.
So just think about that. I'm going to go with Chiefs, and I know we'll cover this on Belt Kings, so I just want to touch upon it briefly. I'm going to go with Chiefs. I'm pulling for the Giants. I know it's David against Goliath. San Francisco.
The Giants can do it. They can do it. I don't know if well, but they can.
I want to say Cincinnati, but I'm leaning towards Buffalo.
I wouldn't wager any more than 3 points on either one. Matter of fact, I told somebody 2 nights ago on that game, put me down for them going to overtime and the winner by a field goal.
I think whoever has the ball last.
Makes sense.
Whoever has it last.
It sounds basic, but it makes sense.
And I had a discussion today at work with one of my colleagues on, I said, Buffalo, Kansas City. If Buffalo meets Kansas City in an AFC championship game, the game is going to be held at Atlanta.
Somebody asked me that, and I was like, I don't know if they'll.
It's going to be held in Atlanta.
They don't
because of the whole Damar Hamlin situation.
Yeah.
So
if you chose Atlanta, I may have to go.
it's in your town. I'm just letting you know that.
It's in my state. It's in my state. It's not my town. It's in my state.
Okay.
I'm not in Atlanta. Yeah, I'm not in Atlanta, but
shout out to Warner Robbins. Hey, where do you want to see Tom Brady? What do you want to see him do next season?
Everything in me says he still wants to play. It's just a matter of whether or not he'll be able to. Whatever team he goes to is going to protect him. I'm quite sure teams are begging him to come back, and they will give him top dollar because the stadium will fill. The stadium will fill. Whatever team he goes to, number one needs an offensive line.
Yes.
Number two needs a quarterback. So, okay, let me go ahead and start the controversy. Thank you for asking me. Who needs a quarterback?
Everyone.
I'll be dangerous. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to.
I had an image. I won't put it on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I had it. I said, so here's a quick read. Free agents at quarterback in 2023. Lamar Jackson, Daniel Jones, Jimmy Garoppolo, Tom Brady, Geno Smith, Tyler Heineke, Baker Mayfield, Andy Dalton, Gardner Minshew, Mike White, and Jacoby Brissett.
Mike White's going to be a free agent?
Mike White's going to be a free agent.
All right, let's do this. Last time a Green Bay Packers quarterback left, what team did he go to?
He went to the Jets. I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers on the Jets. We've done this before.
Aaron Rodgers will come to the Jets. They've done it before. Brady's ever left the Patriots. I don't think he's going to lead the kids. I think he'll stay in Florida, even though he's from where originally?
Michigan.
No.
Oh, no. San Francisco.
Thank you.
San Francisco.
I smell 3 rings with the 49ers if he goes there.
3 rings? He's going to be 46 in August.
And he'll play till he's 50.
Not only that, but he's got that 10-year, $375 million contract from Fox.
Waiting on him. He ain't even got
waiting on him.
Now,
they're talking about there's no pressure. There's no pressure.
You really want to make it scary? Who needs a quarterback? Let's think about that for a second. Who can afford to pay him a quarterback? And what climate does he want?
Somewhere warm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not saying
I'll say Miami.
Raiders. I mean, what would have been the Bay, but the Raiders left Oakland. I was going to
He's
say
from the Bay. He's from Northern California, so I can see him go to the 49ers. He likes the weather, so I can see him going to
49ers or Raiders. Somewhere
somebody did
super
say
warm.
Raiders. I heard Raiders. Daniel
Super
Jones is
warm.
going to be a free agent. That's a little bit of a conundrum. I didn't know about that. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think Mike White will go anywhere, but I don't think he'll be enough with the Jets.
No, he's not a QB1.
The Colts need a quarterback.
Yeah.
The Texans need a quarterback. Nobody has 100% faith in Kirk Cousins with the Vikings. I think he would be very dangerous with the Vikings.
Let me tell you, Kirk Cousins. When Kirk Cousins had the Jets bidding against the Vikings so that he could run up the number, and he signed that 3-year, fully guaranteed $84 million contract.
That's a bot.
When he signed that deal, I was so done with him. Kirk Cousins will get you numbers. I mean, he's going to get himself numbers.
He's a decent 500 quarterback, and this was an excellent season for him.
Yeah, he's going to get his numbers. But do you see him as a type of guy to take a team to the Super Bowl?
No. No disrespect to him either, because he plays great football.
Right.
He's good. People think he's sorry, but they keep paying him.
They keep paying him.
He's
going to be like Ryan Fitzpatrick. When everything is said and done, he's going to be sitting on $300 or $400 million.
He hasn't been benched yet.
Right.
Ryan's been benched.
Oh yeah, he was benched multiple places, but still smart and still amassed. Ryan Fitzpatrick must have amassed at least 120, maybe $130 million in contracts.
I think he's over the twos. I think he's over 200 million by now.
Oh, okay, good.
I may be wrong. I think he's either close to.
No, he played for like about 7 or 8 teams.
And I'll even say Tampa Bay will probably still keep Brady. He's rebuilt that city pretty much.
Yeah.
I know he's re-inspired it. There's a whole bunch of championships in that city now.
Yeah.
And last I heard, he loves it there. They got the red carpet out for him.
I'm gonna leave that there.
Mm-hmm. Because I've been run circles around this for a while.
Oh yeah. So are you planning to do your Belt Kings podcast before divisional weekend?
Me and Fireman Rich are talking about doing it through the playoffs to the Super Bowl Sunday mornings. Because we can do 30 minutes real quick, no problem.
Yeah, but they're gonna have games on Saturday and Sunday this week. So
yeah. So last time I did it that Friday, and I did apologize to everybody for New Year's when I missed it, but I did take my son to a Falcons game. We went to go see the Falcons and the Cardinals. That was fun.
Okay.
That really was. We could do a Saturday morning broadcast, no problem. If I'm around, I don't know. Isn't much to elaborate on that hasn't been ran in the ground already. And I won't say that on purpose because we got less games now. Everybody's talking the same thing. So it's almost going to be a circle. I think the biggest story is going to be the Bills and the Bengals again.
Yeah.
As far as the whole weekend. Dallas and the 49ers is going to be a huge story. The Eagles and the Giants. I think the Eagles and the Giants are a very tough match. The Giants can always surprise you. Don't sleep on the Giants. We can't. We can't sleep on the Giants. They're actually playing great football right now. I could do one. I might do one tomorrow.
Okay.
Just to knock it out the park if anybody's available. So we'll see how it goes. We will. But the fantasy football season was pretty much over after the DeMar Hamlin injury. Grateful that he's back up. Grateful that he's moving around. And I just think a lot of athletes need to be careful and watch your health. That's a random situation nobody saw coming. The way he went out and how they described it medically, I'm like, wow. That says a lot.
It does say a lot.
It really says a lot. I mean, if you get hit in between heartbeats, you could pass out. Nah, I'm not ready for that from anybody. I don't wish anybody, as much as we would love hard-hitting football, I ain't trying to see none of y'all die. And that
No.
goes for any athlete in any sport. I ain't trying to see none of y'all die. We talking junk for you to get shot and stunned and be able to get back up. I'm not.
Well, the way they have this now is it's a few steps away from flag football.
Well, look at what just happened.
Yeah.
And I'll be 1,000 with it. Look at what just happened.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to see nobody die. It ain't that serious.
Hey, this is Ted Hicks, Late Night Parents. We got Tony D in the queue. Tony D, I put in a link on an article we published the tail end of 2022.
Right.
7 jobs Americans don't want to work anymore.
Well, this ought to be hilarious.
I'm not even sure if that's proper English or not.
Let's make sure this one gets on TikTok too.
Let's see. All right, Tony D. 7 jobs Americans don't want to work anymore. The economy is the economy.
Yes.
And yeah, we've been, dealing with ups and downs and inflation and $7, a carton of eggs for $7 and, gas prices and everything else like that. Supposedly, we talked the previous year about the Great Resignation. We talked about quiet quitting. We talked about all the above. We talked about how people want to sit on their couch and receive the Biden stimulus packages and everything else like that. Okay. So here are some of the jobs that Americans no longer want to work. You tell me if you agree or you disagree, Tony. Sanitation worker.
I don't think anybody wants it. I don't. Not for real.
Clearly it's one of the least glamorous jobs around.
One of the more permanent jobs ever, but redundant, nasty, unhealthy.
Yes.
Long hours.
Yes.
Made a TV show about a sanitation worker. That didn't last. Come on now. Great show, by the way.
Would you say there's health concerns with the job?
I think the hours and I'll put the hours over the health concerns from a lot of people that I do know. It's a great, comfortable, permanent employment. It'll get redundant.
Nurse.
Right now, that came from a lot of what happened over the past couple of years. They're quitting left and right from what I've seen.
So according to Healthcare IT News, as many as 90% of the nurses have considered quitting for a variety of reasons.
Long hours. And they can't deal with what's going on, people.
The shortages.
Yeah, they weren't able to stop a lot of what people were going through. Part of their job was to make you better. If they couldn't, it killed them on the inside too. I've heard that. I have heard that.
Tone number 3, truck driver.
Not safe anymore.
Go ahead, elaborate.
It's not even so much the distance anymore or the weather. There's a lot of regulations and restrictions that I have heard about with the truck drivers, the safety concerns. It's been more about getting paid enough because the money's not equal in the hours. A lot of the money goes right back into what they're doing. So they're not seeing much of a profit from what I've seen and heard.
Subpar conditions. Hey.
I have not heard that. I got 2 friends that drive trucks. They did drive trucks. They were missing families. And they were going cross country.
So according to smarttrucking.com, there's been a truck driver shortage by as many as 60,000 drivers as of February 2022. So
and that's why your Amazon Prime ain't working.
we talked about
Yeah.
over the past year where you can reminisce and you could say, okay, we talked about is your Prime subscription worth it? You know,
Except for the past 3 months, yes.
what was a common, stay of 2 days, you can get your package. Remember when a lot of stuff wasn't coming in 2 days?
Yeah. Right before Christmas. Now it's been since October for a bunch of us.
Tony, retail worker,
Nobody's happy with their job.
retail worker, seasonal work, there's crazy hours and everything prior to, the Christmas season, the leading up to it. And then right after that, you can barely get 20 hours a week, the week after Christmas.
You also got disrespectful customers.
Yeah, that too.
Hey, Alan, what's going on? The customer's always right mentality got redundant. It owes the complaints against them and people losing their jobs off of any customer complaint. It's the retail worker job is not good, not safe. It's about as bad as fast food right now.
Okay.
In my opinion. And you're doing a lot they're not making enough money on that job. Not from what I remember at all.
Great resignation comes into play once again because people are like, you know what, I don't even want to do this job.
Yes.
Food service worker.
How can I put this? This is a job Americans don't want to work anymore, correct?
Correct.
Because during the pandemic, quote unquote, illness rating of the globe, this is one of the most vital jobs in the world. If you ever see that story, a lot of your public works, people that helped you with your food, they were the most essential people at the time. Yeah. I did see that.
So according to the nation's restaurant news, as of January 2022, food service industry had a higher quit rate than any other sector. Almost 7%. So these reasons range from, once again, bad management, low pay, to frustration with customer expectation and health risks during the pandemic.
They read my mind. They got tired of y'all talking about, let me get a Whopper, no tomato, add bacon, light mayonnaise, a piece of lettuce, half a stem on my damn tomato. Man, please. They tired of y'all. They tired of y'all.
The next to last one is educator.
They don't get paid enough, and it's dangerous.
Teachers were definitely were pushed during the pandemic.
A lot of them were not computer literate, and that was a very big issue with the online schooling.
Okay.
I think we talked about that.
I'm sure we talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple of years ago. On the online schooling, the Google Classroom and the iReady for a lot of kids.
Yes.
People, they did not know how to work it, and certain things were not working properly. Everybody had to gain computer literacy during that time. Even those of us who video and teleconference a lot. I learned a lot about doing this, and I learned about multi-streaming and all that. I was running through it, practicing, working, talking with you all and everything, and we all had to go through it. The educators don't get paid enough. They were being stressed out. They had to maintain the curriculum. Students couldn't be in school. The students weren't picking it up. Then they didn't have Wi-Fi, so then they had to grade them. It was a mess.
It was a mess.
It was a very huge mess. Yeah, they burned out.
So the National Center for Education Statistics organizations found 44% of public schools reported teacher vacancies, over half which were resignations.
Yeah, and that's scary.
Here's one that hits home. The IT worker.
I'm gonna let you. You're going to tell me about this one. You're going to tell me about this one. I got an assumption, but that's your world, bro. You tell me.
Listen, the expectation of the information technology specialist was stretched beyond belief. Pre-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID, moving jobs and firms and corporations from on-premise to cloud to hybrid. Um, there's a high level of burnout rate.
Yes.
Um,
A lot of 12-hour days, 10 to 12-hour days. I
yeah,
believe. Yes.
and you think about it. A lot of times with these tech positions, they are salaried. So think about it. You're getting paid for 8 hours, Tone, but you're working 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
Do the math.
I've done it.
So people from Talent LMS and Workable found that 72% of tech employees were thinking of leaving their positions within the next year. The minute pandemic slowed down and the jobs started opening back up, you saw a whole gang of movement happening because you saw a lot of people, a lot of IT people were unhappy.
You all had a lot of troubleshooting, debugging, customer complaints, updating, all over the place.
It was just Tone. It was just
Take
a pressure.
the platform we was all on. How many complaints did they get?
Hey, Helen, how you doing?
Yes, it was at the early. The previous platform we were on, how many complaints did they get all the damn time?
Oh, they got, every day.
And that was just one platform.
Every day.
Yeah, that was just one platform.
That was just one platform. So just imagine, I'm trying to be PC here.
Mm-hmm.
You're managing 15 platforms and they're all intermingled.
Yep.
And you're trying to ensure that they talk to each other. And wasn't easy.
Debugging. Why are they not talking to each other? And that
and people were used to doing work the way they were used to doing work when they were in the office.
And that's all it is to it. And you got to make a new world. It's the new century.
And they had to be super flexible, and everyone had to come out of their shell.
Yes. Everybody had to learn something new. Everybody had to learn from each other. Because as much as you were certified and verified and experienced, there's something that was in the loop that somebody else could help you with, but you didn't want to hear it based on your credentials. And we got a problem right there.
So those are 7 jobs Americans don't want to work anymore. The other thing I wanted to briefly, so what's your thoughts on getting your news from TikTok? Are you pro? Are you against? Do you trust it?
Verifying is a tough issue.
Because I just want to let you know, more than 30 million people are receiving their news from TikTok. Surprised? Not surprised?
Not surprised. No. What's limited and not being played or allowed on other platforms, you can do on TikTok. So they're going there for the non-redundant information, if you will. We're tired of hearing about Ukraine. We're tired of hearing about the election. We're tired of hearing about what's the other one? It was the election, it was Ukraine. The illness. They got tired of those. So they go somewhere else to try to find something from somewhere else. I get a kick out of watching conspiracy theories.
Really?
I get a kick out of them. I'm not even going to start with some of y'all's feet on TikTok. Y'all need to stop that. There's some terrible tools up there.
So researchers say that members of Generation Z are likely putting more trust into social media influencers and creators.
It's more dangerous though, where you can't verify the information.
And so the main key word there you said was verification, where, okay, I get it. No one trusts the media. But there's at least some checks and balances versus Joe Blow, who gets online, spews whatever, and then keeps it moving. And whatever Joe Blow has spewed is now retweeted and reshared to 10 or 12 million people.
Right. Now,
Uh,
I know what you're saying about things based on the algorithm becomes an echo chamber. You aren't getting a balanced view of the world. No, people are trying to get a more focused view on what they think and what they like. You're not wrong in what you're saying at all. You're not.
let's get into, let's see. Boom. You can tell a lot about a person by the way they talk to a waiter, barista, retail worker. Nothing worse or more off-putting than putting someone who talks down to someone they consider in a menial job. Very good. And I would imagine IT would be very frustrating having to explain basic stuff. Oh my goodness. And she says, no, you're getting things on a timeline based on an algorithm. Oh yeah, that's what you just read.
Mm-hmm.
But Tone, we got to, let's see, where are we at? We are at halfway. This is Ted Hicks from Late Night Parents. We are talking with Tony D. Tony D, I got to share with you, and I want to get your take on these tips right here. So I'm going to go to present, share the screen, and we will go into Tony D.
Mm-hmm.
Auto crime prevention tips to stay safe at the pump.
Okay.
So out here in Nassau County, the police department was warning drivers about the increase of stolen cars at gas stations.
Uh-huh.
So yes, that's in Nassau County, but I'm guessing that could be at,
Everywhere.
you pick your county or your village or state, and there's similar incidents that are happening all over.
Yeah.
Tony D, gonna go through these quick tips. Does it make sense? Is it something that should be common sense? Or is it something that people are exhibiting no sense?
I'm gonna start with number 3. Do not leave
Okay.
your car running, especially at the pump. I don't know why people still leave their car running when they're pumping gas into it. They've been telling us that since I was a child. Do not leave the car running when you're pumping gas. They've
Okay.
been telling people that. I can't believe people are still doing it. I'm looking like, are y'all crazy? You've got the engine going. You've got combustion happening, and then you're going to put fumes around it. You making a bomb. They was telling us that we was kids. Lock your car. You might want to. This ain't the 50s or the 60s. And the 70s weren't safe in New York. Let's be 1,000. Some of you don't because you got the kids in the car. I got that. If it's summertime, it's too hot. You don't have air conditioning. I understand that. These days, depending on where you are, you might want to lock your car door. Take your car with you while you pump the gas. I do because I turned the car off. Hence number 3. Keep your finger on your keys, panic button, a honking horn, draw attention. Yeah. I got no debate on that one. I got no problems with that. Number 5, if possible, pick a gas station that's in a familiar, safe area of town. Look for a station that has the bright lights and security cameras. You have to these days. Now, for a lot of people that travel on those rural roads, you don't have that. You don't have that. Don't let your gas tank go below a quarter of a tank. That way you can plan the fuel during the day and during busy times. Yeah, you never know when you'll be stuck in a 2-hour traffic jam.
But I don't think anyone would listen to that tip because people are driving around with 10 miles to go in their tank.
Yeah. You wait till it says low fuel with no miles left. Don't get distracted. Check your surroundings and don't stare at your phone while pumping. Yeah, I'm always doing that. You don't know when nobody's gonna pop up with you at a gas station anymore.
So wait, I just want to get clarification.
Mm-hmm.
You do stare at your phone or you don't stare at your phone while you're pumping gas?
I don't have my phone. When I first had a cell phone, I wouldn't. Once again, fumes and electricity, you making a bomb. I've got a case on my phone. It's not a problem with it now. But you still should not, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get back to basics for something with cell phones for a second. Cell phones are on electricity. You get the power going, and you're gonna have fuel fumes, where fumes are more ignitable than the fuel itself. Y'all keep playing. Just being real. Y'all keep playing. You're gonna be a next damn real TV, amazing videos, idiots in the world video, world star, all of that mess. What happened? Hello, boom. That's your ass. Keep playing. Keep playing. It sounds like an American thing. No, what it is, Helen, it's a people are sometimes in a rush. If you hurry to get somewhere, you'll leave the engine run and throw some gas, get it to half a tank, get where you're going afterwards. But I remember being taught when I was a child, turn the car off when you're pumping gas. I do remember being told that. Also, don't open your door when you're pumping gas, because that can produce a little bit of electricity.
Mm-hmm.
There was something, even though there's rubber on the doors, it can be a problem. I do remember hearing those things. So a lot of times I would roll the windows down. The kids was in the car, I had to drop them off, I had to go get some gas real quick. Oh, y'all stay there. I'll crack the window real quick. I always let my tank empty around fumes. It's a bad habit. Everybody does it, especially when money's tight.
Right.
That happens. So that's where he was at. But yeah, I didn't have a problem with that list entirely. Just turn the car off when you're getting gas. They were teaching us that since the 80s. And yes, I am that old.
What's your thoughts on the whole, and I think we talked about this a little bit last time, but I want to talk about it again because now it's a week or two later. The whole YouTube TV and Sunday Ticket and Red Zone. Do you think it's a good deal? Do you not? Or are you kind of like,
most of what happens on the NFL winds up on YouTube anyway.
right?
I think they can make a reasonable deal. YouTube's going to gain a profit. I don't know if the NFL will. A lot of things are immediately on YouTube right after it happens. Red zone plays, injuries, incidences, everything winds up on YouTube. YouTube TV will probably blow up. And I mean blow up to the positive way as far as growing.
Right.
I can see that happening. I really can't see that happening. I still need to look into a lot of it. I haven't bought into YouTube TV and YouTube Music. I got the YouTube Premium, but I just did it so, one, I wanted my channel back. Two, if I had a replay and I turned the phone off, it would keep playing. If the phone cuts itself off, it still plays.
Yes.
You can minimize it while you're looking
Yes.
at the windows, do it, everything else. Yeah, that's good. That's worthy. So I think it'll sell. I just don't think the NFL will make as much of a profit off of it. They'll gain views, which is streaming, and everything is going to streaming more than broadcasting, owning, and copyrighting and all this and all that, you know?
So I just think, I'm not saying this deal doesn't make sense because everyone's going to benefit out of it because, they're paying, I don't know, $1.5 billion or $2 billion a year for this package. But I just think the level of consumption, because when we would watch TV, I'm talking about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that highlight, if you weren't watching it live, you would catch that highlight on SportsCenter.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when something happens, it's immediately on YouTube. It's on every social media channel there is, and
in 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes.
Within 2, I was going to say 5, but I said no, it's normally faster. And I hate to use this as an example. The recent incident we had in the NFL that made global news,
yes,
I will say global, was up in 2 minutes.
Right.
Actually, I was podcasting with Glick, and I was flipping back and forth. I said, it's the first quarter. Why is everybody going to the locker room?
Right.
We started going through the news, and we went to ESPN, and we was trying to wait for a replay. I was like, let me go to YouTube. And I was like, oh, the ambulance hit the field. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
It was there.
Now, legally, they're supposed to kind of edit and approve what goes out there. You can't stop it with YouTube because everybody got a camera phone.
But you know that I think also the problem is,
and also everybody had it on TV and they could rewind with the DVR and all that. You know, so yes.
Right. You remember print media, right? You remember newspapers and all of that stuff, right? and then I'm gonna say it was prior to, but let's just say circa 2010, circa 2000, anywhere from 2006 to 2010.
Mhm.
So you had trained journalists that
Yes.
would write their story and then submit it, and then an editor would review, and then whatever grammatical errors or whatever like that, and then it would get published.
Yes.
And then with the advent of bloggers,
Mhm.
bloggers are like, the hell with,
Going through all that, but I could do it myself. Yes.
I could do it myself and I could publish it. This is exactly the same situation,
Pretty much.
so I don't know. I think, like I said, me personally, I enjoy Red Zone. um I don't know. I just think the price tag of now, whomever who wants Sunday ticket is gonna have to pay $300 or between 3 to 350.
They'll pay it.
I'm not saying they won't pay it. I'm just saying I won't pay it.
Yeah, I'm not going to because some Sundays, I'm not going to lie. I was actually watching the game one Sunday and fell asleep. I was so exhausted. So it's no disrespect to the product. And of course, when you have parties, you want that. A lot of these bars and restaurants need that.
Listen, there's about close to $200 million a year
Mhm.
in just the bar and restaurant.
Barbershops, beauty shops, all of it.
Yes.
All of it.
That's I'm gonna say it's gonna range anywhere between 150 and about 225.
Yeah.
That whoever is going to be the provider for those venues.
Mhm.
So there's that. So I gotta ask you,
Mhm.
do you watch golf?
No,
Okay.
Tiger's not playing. No,
If Tiger's not playing, you're out.
pretty much.
All right. So if I say to you, but if I say PGA,
Professional Golf Association, yes.
okay.
I
So
know
there's
what you're so watching.
Helen, we have him fully engaged. So there's the competition to the PGA's Live Golf.
Mhm.
Don't know if you heard about it or anything like that.
No.
Live Golf is backed by Saudi Arabia, their public investment fund.
Okay.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia has some
Ways. Customs.
about them.
Yes.
It was announced today that the fact that Saudi Arabia does operate the way it does,
Mhm.
they couldn't get a media deal in the U.S.
For golf?
for golf. Their
Yes,
Live
golf.
Golf tour, they couldn't get a media deal because the legacy channels were like, nah, no, thank you. So it was announced today that, which is going to sound like a kind of weird, strange bedfellow. The CW network. You remember CW? It's CW. It's like kind of low budget.
They've been around 20 years and that low budget.
You're like, it's like, hey, they're gonna, show the Flash, Superman and Lois, the Arrow,
DC Legends and Tomorrow, Black Lightning.
yeah, those type of shows. So they're going to air Live Golf every weekend. There's going to be like 14 separate events, and the reason I'm mentioning it is because we're seeing this the way you have to consume it. So if you want to watch these golfers Saturday and Sunday, you can watch them on the regular over the air.
Mhm.
But if you want to watch it on Friday, you got to download the CW app. So I'm really going to keep my eyes open for, I guess, the overall downloads for the CW app. because they got top-notch golfers.
It's going to be your older generation.
Well, CW, the average median age is 57.
I would have thought that would have been Paramount Plus.
There you go. Well,
I'm not even being funny, but you're talking about people who don't watch cable,
right.
watching CW.
You're talking about people who are totally watching over the air.
Yeah, and if you're watching golf, I don't know a lot of young folks watching it. I barely know any middle-aged folks watching golf.
So I don't know. I want to say it might be a perfect fit because if the median age is 57, I don't know. I'll leave it there.
Right.
I'll leave it there.
Right.
But outside of that, you want to talk about your MLK? Did you do anything for MLK Day?
Sat in the house. I had Jason with me, so I was good.
Okay.
I consider that a decent holiday when I'm able to do things with him for the weekend.
That's cool.
So nothing big, nothing major. Of course, the sculpture. I'm going to say that for another day.
All right.
Yeah, we talked about that, and I think I don't know yet. I got to look more into it. I just know there's a lot of controversy with it.
Okay. One of the last things I want to talk about is, and we talk about this all the time, because we talk about phishing and we talk about being safe on your mobile phones, and the bad guys are trying to get you out there and all the above. But what we're noticing is the younger population is being targeted by robocallers. And they're factoring in now, like with all these different scams and everything else like that, but they're factoring in cryptocurrency.
Really?
Yes. They're factoring this in. So scammers are, building more and more details about, the persona and whether they can gather information, and they know the younger population has an affinity for cryptocurrency. So it's just key that people are, especially, like I said, all folks should be aware of this, that these scammers,
they're after everything you got, period.
Yes. And it's social engineering, and they're just trying to find out any way to bring out information of being, contextually relevant, because the younger generation is more at risk of owing to limitless information that people put online. Because the one thing we do know is the younger generation has, they want to share everything.
Yes, and they're not afraid to say anything.
Right. And this right here, it allows the scammers to send these messages and target their calls with this information and get these victims hooked. So people just have to, open your eyes. Hey, everything that's being told to you that's free is not free.
And be careful. Don't say so much.
Yeah.
They want you to keep talking. They want you to keep speaking. They want you to speak your mind. They want you to keep elaborating. You just feeding them. Wu-Tang style. They're just going to keep feeding you and feeding you and feeding you. Feeding you. That's what y'all doing.
Oh my goodness. So I will say this much to you, Tone. As we have entered cold weather season, winter is here. People are, getting sick and everything else like that. There's the stomach flu, there's viruses, there's this, there's that going on, and everything else like that. Do you foresee any shutdowns, or do you think we won't ever touch that phase of it ever again?
I don't think the shutdown's going to happen this year. Last year I would have said yes. This year I'm going to say no.
Okay.
This most recent variant right now, I believe it's XBB 1.5, nicknamed the Kraken. It's not as lethal, not as dangerous It is another positive test, but your symptoms won't be severe. I do
Okay.
not see another shutdown. Numbers were spiking recently. They
Hmm.
did talk about it at my job. I actually just had a meeting this afternoon with the damn woman. We did talk about their numbers were going up and what are they going to do about it. The biggest concern is going to be when the hospitals start filling up. I don't think it's
Yes.
going to happen like that. Jojo, what's good? RSV has been a concern to me. That was big over this winter, but so far it looks like everything's been going good. I did hear about a couple of stomach flus, but I haven't heard of anything severe this past winter. The previous 2 winters should have been enough to sit everybody down and calm everybody down. I will say, I think we got a bigger issue with flights than viruses
Okay.
these next few months because of how the FAA shut down, which is pretty much not good, especially over the holidays. And I'm glad I did not go nowhere.
It was a corrupted file,
I
in
believe it.
theory.
I also believe it was overbooking. I also believe it was overbooking.
Mr.
But
B, what's going on?
yeah, I'll take your word for it on that.
Um, so we got flights, we got illnesses. Tone, the last question I will ask you,
Mhm.
what's your thoughts on the debt ceiling? We're at 31.8 trillion.
I
The,
just
the,
read the
the
article. It's
debt,
68.
hang on one sec. The debt
Yes.
has been extended 79 times. We have a split government.
Mhm.
House is primarily led by the Republicans.
Mhm.
President is Democratic,
Mhm.
and the Senate is Democratic by one vote.
Mhm.
Do we foresee a shutdown? Do we foresee, because if we shut down, stock market's going to crash, inflation, everything goes through the roof, kaboom. The great kabuki shows up. What do you think is going to happen? What do you foresee?
The SEC is gonna have to make a decision to make crypto legal.
We're talking about the debt ceiling.
I did read an article about 2 hours ago. It said we were at 38 trillion. I know what you said about the 31. I did see 38 trillion. I was just reading it, honestly. We're in a they're gonna have to go through extreme measures.
Yes.
And that was exactly the title of it. $38 trillion debt ceiling and extreme measures. I think the debt is almost intentional so that they can switch to a new form of currency to clear it. The Security Exchange Commission, I'm gonna need y'all to go ahead and make a decision. Actually, not even make a decision. Y'all, I dare say, do us a favor and go public with some of the information and let everybody come up with what they got going on.
So, but Tone, as we play
Yes.
the game of kick the can, what happens to Jason's great grandchildren? Because if you owe almost 32 trillion now,
Yeah, I'm
at
worried
some
about that.
point you hit that wall.
You're gonna hit the wall, but you got people willing to invest in this. And if history says we get this deep in debt, guess what happens next?
What happens?
We go to war and people bail us out.
Okay.
That's what we don't want. We don't want another war. We don't want to get another conflict. We don't want to lose anybody. We don't want to have to overextend ourselves on everything. But that's what they do. We go into debt. Let's go to war. We go to war. They'll pay us. They'll pay us. Period. In debt to whom? That is a question. You're right, Helen. That is the excellent question. Who are we in debt to?
It's one last thing. I wish I could show this. I'll share it with you guys later.
Yep.
Last
Eggs
thing
and
I wanted to mention
$10. Yeah.
is
Eggs and bacon cost the same.
okay, so we've been talking about the tech industry is, the industry that's hit right now, which is laying off a lot of people. And we hear about it. Microsoft is saying, hey, we're going to lay off another 10,000. Hey, this, name your favorite provider from, FANG, that's laying people off. Here's the one thing, just to keep this in the back of your mind. The United States is built on immigrants, and in the tech world, a lot of these companies are run off of people who have H-1B visa recipients.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, there's about 320,000 people from India who are currently in the United States on H-1B visas.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Chinese, roughly about 52,000, and Canadians just shy of 4,000.
Mm-hmm.
So you do the math on it, 54, so just roughly under 400,000 of these people. If they are laid off, guess what? They got 60 days to find a job. And if they don't find a job in 60 days that will support their visa, guess what they have to do?
Be deported.
Be deported. So just when you think your situation is screwed,
yeah,
there's always someone else out there.
I hate to say it like that. Imagine being sent somewhere you don't want to be.
Right. Right. So I don't know. That's just one to grow on. So where can we find you? I love I'm gonna make sure next time to have the scroll up. There's nothing better than that.
Oh man.
When I can see the TONY or the TONY 1972 or the TONY dude, it's great. I love it because I know, and Helen has also said on many occasions, Linktree.
Apparently, when you go to my Linktree, people think I got a damn OnlyFans, which I don't. So you can find me on Twitter, TONY163. You can find me on Twitch, TONY72, Instagram, TONY72, TikTok, TONY19723. You will find me here on Late Night Parents with my man Ted. Appreciate you as always, bro. You'll find me on the Sunday Night Smoke podcast. My man Ace World Smoke. Appreciate you. You can find me on the Nonsensical Nonsense podcast with Glick and Jeff Hawk. Appreciate those fellas. You will also see me live streaming myself. I've been doing some music video broadcasts recently. I do have a Mixcloud page. That page is on my Instagram. You'll see it on the photos. You'll see it on my TikTok photos. You'll see the links on my Twitter. Check out the music broadcast that I've done. I knew you was gonna say that. See, you can't help it. See, you had to.
I had to. That was a softball.
You had to. The both of you. Both of you. But nah, definitely check out the music broadcast that I've done. Check out the podcast that I've been a part of. I'm appreciative to any and every follower I've ever had live streaming over this past year and a half, 2 years. I've had a ball. This has been a childhood hobby. I will always say it. I do mean it. That I'm grateful for everybody who's been willing to see anything that I do and who's been waiting for me to do another, and they have enjoyed themselves, because you all are my fan base, you all are my audience, and you gave me new motivation. You gave me a mental vent I wasn't sure I had anymore. So thank you all, honestly.
Got it. Hey, this is Ted Hicks. We are out.
Appreciate
Thank you guys. Thank you to Mr. B, Leggy Lady, and also the bot.
Yeah, what up to the bot?
Also the bot that's up there. And Helen says, this is great. Ted, thank you for being a beacon of light, a paragon with great content among all.
The dross.
Yeah, we're out.
All right, peace, man.